So the last bit of the demo is focused on nappy care. So that's mainly washing and drying. If you've been online, if you've been on my group, or if you've been on Facebook or any of the nappy groups or any nappy retailers, you may have picked up that there are lots of disagreements and inconsistencies about nappy washing advice. That stems really from over the last 10 years, lots of changes about how nappies or nappy retailers, manufacturers have recommended nappies be washed. And also just differences based on different countries' advice, different retailers and different manufacturers' advice. In the UK, a main consensus really is that non-bio detergent is preferable. So depending on the nappies you're buying, depending on the brand, where they're from, if they're a UK brand, you will likely find in the washing instructions that it will say, or if they're a UK retailer, non-bio. Other US brands, Canadian brands, Australian brands often may say different things. The maximum temperature for most nappies that most nappies can tolerate is 60 degrees. Now, some brands will say 40 or even 30, and that's where parental choice and preference really comes in. As a nappy librarian, we often stay at certain points in your nappy journey. You might need to wash at 60 degrees. And so essentially, if your baby is under 3 months, if their baby has been poorly vaccinated, or there's a rash that you're not sure about, then, or baby sharing nappies with a sibling, then we would say 60 degrees. But again, some parents decide just to wash at 40 and they're fine, or 30 and they're fine with that. Amount of detergent. I think there's a little bit more agreement in that. Old advice used to say to use half dose, or even less than that sometimes. The current advice is that you use a dose, which is usually about full dose of detergent, according to what your manufacturer, the detergent manufacturer's advice is on the side of the box or bottle, and that's based on your drum size of your machine. It will be a heavy soiled laundry that you're doing, and usually if you're in London, hard water. And that's often quite a lot of detergent, and people are quite surprised because essentially they're dirty and they need to be cleaned effectively, and that usually means that you need a generous amount of detergent. So there are differences, obviously, as I've said, but my advice for washing is a routine that essentially focuses on a 2-stage washing process. So once you've taken the nappy off your baby, you may want to take the nappy apart, if it's a pocket nappy or an all-in-two, and you may want to, and I would suggest you do, fasten any Velcro laundry tabs, because that stops everything getting attached in the wash. All your nappies can go into a bucket or a wet bag. We don't advise any form of soaking or what we'd call wet paling. It's not necessary. If you wish to rinse poo off, or the nappy's been on overnight and you want to give that a rinse with some detergent, that's fine. And then they just go and sit in the bucket or wet bag until you're ready to wash. We suggest washing your nappies really you can wash nappies with other things, or you can do a dedicated nappy wash, but I wouldn't suggest leaving a nappy bucket of nappies or a wet bag of nappies for more than 3 days without washing. Often every other day or every sort of third day is fine. You want your drum, when you load your machine, you want your drum to be about 3/4 full of wet washing. So that may be that you just need to top up with smaller items like baby clothes, reusable wipes, small towels, anything that you're happy to wash at 60 degrees, so that you've got an adequate amount of items in your drum. Too few items and you'll find that you get lots and lots and lots of bubbles, and that cushions the nappies from each other and stops them rubbing against each other and reduces agitation. Too much and there's no room for them all to move around. The first stage of washing, once your nappies are in the machine, is a short wash cycle, or something like a rinse and spin cycle. Something that adds water into the machine, rinses the nappies through, and then drains that water. We don't soak nappies anymore, but what we want to do is to remove as much of the wee and poo from the nappies before you do your main wash as you can. Because most machines, when they do a main wash cycle, lots of water in, detergent goes in, and they're not going to spin some of that water out right until towards the end of the cycle. So you want the nappies, they're not going to be clean, but you want to take out as much of the wee and the poo as you can before you do your main wash. It just helps with reducing smells and stains a little bit. Detergent is you can add some detergent to that short wash if you wish to. It's up to you. I usually do that on a warm or hot cycle. Then the second stage is your main wash. That's going to be a really long cotton, 60-degree maybe wash. No eco settings, because that reduces water and you need water. So I have Aqua Plus on my machine, which I put on. Lots of enough detergent in there, full dose for your wash, and put your nappy wash on. You want to basically ensure that the nappies are going to get a good wash and a good rinse, so that when they come out of the machine, ideally there's no stains, no smells. There are no smells on your baby. Nappies can sometimes come out of the machine smelling fresh, but as soon as they go on the baby, as soon as the baby wheezes or poos, there's a very strong stale urine or ammonia smell, and that would indicate your wash routine isn't really cleaning effectively. So you may need to come back to us or to another resource to just have a check of your routine. Once the nappies are washed, then drying, ideally outside or on a line or on an area indoors. Tumble drying does obviously increase wear on nappies and isn't recommended for anything which has waterproofing or bamboo. I have a heated area. Lots of people use heated areas successfully, or radiator racks to dry nappies. Again, we would advise not putting bamboo directly onto radiators. Heated areas don't get very hot, but even so, keeping wraps or anything with polyurethane laminate directly off of the bars, so it may be over the top. Dehumidifier can also come in handy. Obviously, it helps to keep your living environment free from damp, but also really does help with drying nappies also. Lastly, the things we don't need when we're washing nappies are fabric conditioner or chlorine bleach. Fabric conditioner just builds up on nappies and can mean that the nappy fabrics start to repel wee, which is not what you want. Chlorine bleach isn't necessarily as part of your washing routine. You can buy oxygen bleaches that are nappy safe, and they will be listed in your kit guide. And also, sometimes people want to use detergents that they feel are kinder to the planet. Unfortunately, some detergents or some products, Eco Egg, Soap Nuts, Ecova, aren't recommended for washing nappies. So it's worth just thinking about what you're going to use. So usually the best option is a non-bio powder detergent. People will have varying opinions on whether liquid or powder is best, and it will kind of depend on your machine as to what works for you really, and also what works for you, not making it too difficult for you.